I can't believe we were allowed inside the Lucky 38. That place has been a legend since before the war. I was born in 2047, boss. If you do the math on that, I'm sure you'll get within a decade or so. Just how old do you think I am, boss? Because I can pretty much guarantee I'm older than that. Let me tell you a story from before the Great War. Everybody knew Robert House. He was a genius, a superstar. Founded Robco at 22. Dated Hollywood starlets, the works. They say he saved Las Vegas. I was in Mexico City when the bombs dropped. Even from there, we could see House's defensive rockets shooting down the incoming missiles. Everybody assumed he died in the war. Maybe he did. But his robots are still out there roaming the waste. And now, a Mr. House rules New Vegas. I remember there were some weird stories about him, especially near the end. There was a tell-all in El Periódico de las Arboridas by a starlet House dated. She said they never, don't make me spell it out, boss. Anyway, she said all he wanted to do was scan her brain and make her dress up in different outfits. It was quite the scandal, at least in the Latin American tabloid journalism market. Maybe not. Maybe the new guy is just a clever raider chief with knowledge of history. Maybe he just left instructions for his robots to carry out in his name. Or maybe Robert House uploaded his brain pattern into a computer and rules to this day a godless, soulless machine god. Maybe the whole thing's a crazy coincidence. Who knows? That's what I love about you, boss. Your firm belief that one day you'll actually remember things people tell you. What do you want to hear about? I grew up in a place called Hidalgo Ranch, just outside Mexico City. It wasn't much, just a bit of a farm, with a house for 3 generations of Tejadas. I wasn't the best behaved kid. I was quick with my hands, with a pistol or a wrench, and I wasn't afraid to get into fights over it. I never killed anybody, but I had my share of run-ins with the police. Mostly my family kept me in line. This was before the war. We were far enough away from Mexico City when the bombs fell that we missed the worst of it. But things got bad quick. Just a few days after Mexico City was vaporized, refugees started pouring down the road to our ranch. We helped who we could, but there were so many. Eventually, my father started turning people away before we ran out of food. Things got violent. My father and I got our guns, and we drove them off. About 24 men came back in the night after we'd gone to sleep. They set fire to the ranch house and barred the doors from the outside. My whole family was trapped inside. I smelt the smoke, and I got myself and my little sister Rafaela out through a window. But everyone else, my parents, my grandmother, my 2 brothers, and 2 of my sisters, all died. Rafaela and I ran. We were pursued by some of the men who attacked our home, but I was always a good shot. The ones who came after us, I killed. The rest, I left be. I had to take care of Rafaela, not throw my life away on revenge.
It was a place of splendor. As magnificent as today's strip may seem, it's but a shadow of the neon paradise that was Las Vegas. I grew up not far from here, and though I traveled the old world extensively, I never found another place like it. By 2065, I deemed it a mathematical certainty that an atomic war would devastate the Earth within 15 years. Every projection I ran confirmed it. I knew I couldn't save the world, nor did I care to, but I could save Vegas, and in the process, perhaps save mankind. I set to work immediately. I thought I had plenty of time to prepare. As it turned out, I was 20 hours short. On the day of the Great War, 77 atomic warheads targeted Las Vegas and its surrounding areas. My networked mainframes were able to predict and force-transmit disarm code subsets to 59 warheads, neutralizing them before impact. Laser cannons mounted on the roof of the Lucky 38 destroyed another 9 warheads. The rest got through, though none hit the city itself. A suboptimal performance, admittedly. If only the platinum chip had arrived a day sooner. The platinum chip was printed in Sunnyvale, California on October 22nd, 2077, the day before the Great War. It was to have been delivered by courier the following afternoon, but by then, the world had ended. The chip contained vital software upgrades, but not just for my Securitrons. Every aspect of the missile defense grid would have been upgraded too. Given that I had to make do with buggy software, the outcome could have been worse. I nearly died as it was. Software glitches set off a cascade of system crashes. I had to take the Lucky 38's reactor offline, lest it melt down. For nearly 5 years, I battled power outages and more system crashes until I finally managed to reboot my data core with an older version of the OS. I spent the next few decades in a veritable coma, but I survived, obviously, and eventually thrived.
Did you say something about people screaming at you?
That's right. Some newcomers have never seen a ghoul before. Can't handle a friendly face, I say. So you need some supplies?
Ghoul? What's a ghoul?
You're looking at one, sweetheart. Didn't have any shelter to go to when the bombs fell. Radiation's kind of the ultimate makeover. Done wonders for my skin. I look pretty good for being 220 years old. Now you buying anything?
Wait, you're 220 years old?
Okay. It's more like 270 years. But don't go blabbing that to everyone. Being a ghoul means you live a long time. You stop counting birthdays. Do you know what it's like being that old?
Actually, I do.
Well, now you're just making fun of me. If you were as old as I was, you would have been around since before the war. So let's hear it. Come on. Tell me what the world was like before the war if you're so ancient.
I had a beautiful house, white picket fence, and a lawn with the greenest grass you'd ever seen. It was peaceful.
It was, wasn't it? Sorry. Last thing you want to see is an old lady tearing up. Well, you're either the most well-preserved ghoul I've ever seen, or you're the second best bullshitter and good neighbor. Ah!
So, what do you remember about the past?
Oh, sweetie. I was an angry young woman back then. Thought the world was sick and wouldn't give me my due. Then it all ended, and well, I ended in a way, becoming a ghoul. Maybe when you get to be my age, everything starts to look like fate. Anyway, I like your story better, whether or not it's true.
It's the truth. All of it.
You know, if you haven't already, you should check out the Hotel Rexford. There's another pre-war ghoul hanging around there.
What? No, it can't. It's you. From Sanctuary Hills, right?
Wait, are you from Vault-Tec?
I am Vault-Tec. 20 years of loyal service, and now look at me. I wasn't on the list. But you, look at you. 200 years, and you're still perfect. How's that possible?
You don't know? They didn't tell you?
Tell me what? What is it? How did you get through these last 200 years untouched?
The vault had these pods that froze us in place. I only thawed out recently.
What? Vault-Tec never told me that. Unbelievable. Well, I had to get to the future the hard way. Living through the filth, the decay, and the bloodshed. Look at me. I'm a ghoul. A freak.
You're a ghoul? What's a ghoul?
Radiation surplus smart. That's what a ghoul is. You think I'd be able to live this long on my own? The rats did this to me!
Are there any other ghouls out there from before?
You mean crazy Kent and nothing bothers me, Daisy? Yeah, there's a couple of us. But no one from the neighborhood. No one from Vault-Tec. They just left me there.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know this would happen.
You know, you're the only other person I met from before. Oh God. I've been so alone here. No Commonwealth settlement. Once a ghoul with 200 years of Vault-Tec sales experience.
Those little company stores. Sinclair's toy boxes. Put in a casino chip, get a treat. Like you're some dog doing tricks. Yeah, well, machines like those weren't unusual before the bomb. Maybe to you they're amazing. To me, they're grifters without the personality. Sinclair made sure if you spent money here, it went one direction. Although that's not how he described it.
Howdy. I've been around a while. Currently working for the followers as a gun for hire. But it's getting rather dull. I've been around long enough to observe the patterns of human behavior. Physical and mental anguish are especially exciting to explore. Hey, who doesn't enjoy a little pinch and squeal every once in a while? Before or after the human race shot itself in the foot? I've been around long enough to have both opinions, see. Before the war, Mr. House was a famous captain of industry. Robotics, to be specific, seemed charming in interviews, until he became a recluse. Since the war, though, didn't make a peep for near 200 years. But when he came back strong and killed a lot of people. Huh. I'd heard there were new people in town, but I thought it was more super mutants. Nice to meet ya. I'm Calamity. Thank you. Change names and jobs every decade or so just to keep things interesting. I picked Calamity this time because it sounded nice. Never really done much science stuff till now. I'm pretty good at it. Or so Dr. Henry tells me.
Was that him floating above the fountain, the boss man? The one who put these bow ties on our necks? Sure does like to make a presentation. We should keep it down, or else the ghost people are going to swarm the gates, Vira hologram or no. Yeah, don't you? Or guess Vira Keys got lost along with the rest of the Hollow archives when the bomb hit, huh? Ghost in name and image. Still a looker, though. Got to hand it to Sinclair. Sure can pick him. Well, or get picked. Whichever. Vera was a big star back before the bomb. Not the best actress, but, well, she had other talents. Nice voice, nice legs. For some reason, Sinclair, he built this place. She caught his eye. Once he was hooked, that was it. Had to have her. So made the introductions, and guess what? He builds this place for her like some kind of Cleopatra obsession. Wasn't always a death trap. Of course! What? Some kind of surprise to you that I knew people once? Used to have my name in lights, all right? Knew a dozen Veras, or whatever her name was. Vera Keys. Figured I could pay Sinclair back. Introduce the two. Guy was a slouch in the dame department. Had to pick up the slack somehow.
I'm Jack Cabot. Welcome to Cabot House.
What is this place?
This is my ancestral home. The Cabots have always lived here, since long before the Great War. If you're asking what we're still doing here, with Boston in its current sad state, well, that's a story for another time, perhaps.
You think aliens created human civilization?
Yes, if by alien you mean a non-human precursor to the commonly understood founding cultures, Sumer, Egypt, Assyria. My father excavated a city in the Rub al-Khali in Arabia, which he dated to more than 4,000 years before the rise of any known human civilization. The structures and artifacts were strange, disturbing even. Clearly not constructed for or by humans. I've spent my life trying to decipher what he uncovered.
Jack, can I tell him what I need him to do?
I'm sorry, Edward. I just get carried away sometimes.
How'd your father manage to travel to Arabia with the world blown to hell?
Ah, well, that was before the war, when he was a young man.
Come on. The war was 200 years ago.
You know your history. Most people don't grasp how long ago the war really was. It is an unusual situation, but... well, it's a private family matter. That's no concern of yours. Are we done?
Quite a place you've got here. Amazing that it survived the war.
Thank you. I try not to take it for granted. We were definitely more fortunate than most. It hasn't been easy keeping it up to pre-war standards, but we do what we can. Any more questions?
I was intrigued by your theory about an ancient alien civilization.
Actually, it was my father's theory. Now proven beyond doubt, although only to me, unfortunately. There aren't many archaeology journals publishing these days.
You have proof.
Enough to satisfy me. He only made a single expedition to the Lost City, but he brought back enough to show beyond a doubt that the city he found wasn't made by or for human beings. Millennia older than the earliest human civilizations, but with technology that seems to have surpassed our own. And yet, everything about it is strange, disturbing geometries, tools not made for human hands, carvings that hint at dimensions beyond our own.
What was your father's theory?
He believed that all of the earliest human civilizations shared some common parent that was unknown to history. Think of Atlantis. The myth of an advanced civilization destroyed by a cataclysm is shared by many widely separated ancient cultures. Eventually, he found what he was looking for. A lost city, buried beneath the sands of the empty quarter of the Arabian desert.
You said your father found a lost city?
Yes, he spent years looking, and was widely ridiculed by the so-called experts. I'm ashamed to say even I doubted him. But in the end, he found it. A lost city, buried in the sands of the Rub al-Khali, the empty quarter of Arabia.
Oh, those electric ghosts aren't the kind of audience I like at the best of times. At least the ones in the villa had manners. Don't even know how I ended up here. Guess the casino still recognizes guests, even after all this time, huh? How's that for history? Thing is, here's where being my partner pays off. See, I know how to get into the casino vault. There's a private elevator, Sinclair's elevator. It's up in the executive suites in Vera's room. Not a coincidence. Vera. She was my other partner before the bomb. Took some legwork. Some convincing made it happen. Sinclair was already puppy-eyed, so all I had to do was the introductions. She smiled, fluttered her eyes, showed a little leg, and he built this whole place for her. Made her the key to his vault, like a joke, 'cause of her name. Her fake Hollywood name. Except Sinclair didn't know I'd been there first. I could twist her whatever direction I wanted. All she had to do was get inside the Sierra Madre for the gala, then use her voice to open the door. After that, smooth sailing. Would have been the biggest heist in history. Sinclair left holding the bag, ruined. The bomb. Vera got sealed in here. A few hundred years go by, give or take. Almost the end of the story. Then you came along. Now we finish the job. Rob the Sierra Madre, rip out its heart. Last chapter of Frederick Sinclair. Close the book. Problem? All high and mighty, lording it over everyone, acting so self-righteous, like nothing could touch him. He was the one with the problem. Never got mad at anything, nothing seemed to shake him. Even after his life kept getting dragged through the dirt. Always kept looking for the bright, shining future in everything. So I decided to take everything from him. Do to me. What, weren't you listening? He thought he was better than me. Don't believe me? Look around. This big casino, this big colossal monument. Think it was for some woman? No. All ego, all self-righteous and lights, fit him perfect. Had to take him down a few pegs, bring him down to my level. Begin again? Some things you don't get up from. I was going to prove it.
Oh, that's such a long story. You couldn't possibly want to hear about that. Well, okay. But it's nothing special. I was born in 2051, so yes, that makes me a pre-war ghoul. I do. I was in a shelter with my father when the bombs hit. In D.C., we had the luxury of getting a warning after the West Coast was gone. I was just a little girl then. We couldn't afford a space in one of the vaults. I remember filing down into that shelter, my father rushing me in. He stopped to help this one family. And I looked up and called his name. There was a flash of light brighter than anything you can imagine. I woke up a few hours later. The first thing I did was run up to where my father had been. He was gone. But the strangest thing, there was his shadow, burned into the wall, so crisp and clear, like he was standing next to me. The heat had burned it into the concrete. The city was on fire for weeks, maybe months, I don't know. I hid down here in the museum. It was the closest building to the shelter I was in. But I could hear what was happening above. People howling like animals, chaos, looting, killing. It's like every foul thing inside of them came out. It was a nightmare. I don't want to talk about it. I don't know how it happens. Dr. Burroughs says it was radiation. All I know is that people kept showing up here in the museum. After things calmed down above ground, we tried to live down here as best we could. After a while, things got strange. My skin started to get dry and flake off. Everyone's did. It took a while. Months, maybe a year. But sooner or later, everyone ended up like this. Some of them went crazy. Some of us just accepted it. After a while, other ghouls would find their way in here, and Underworld just sort of grew. No one bothered us down here. We were happy enough to leave them alone. And once my Greta showed up, it was a good enough life for me. You tell the same story for 200 years, you'll feel pretty uninteresting too.
What are you doing here? It's not safe for your kind around here. Just passing through? That's no way to live your life. You need a purpose, a goal. It's the only thing that keeps you from realizing how meaningless this shit-filled existence really is. I've been stomping around with Roy and his gang of misfits. Roy's a no-nonsense, take-no-prisoners kind of guy. He heard about this tenpenny asshole, and now he's trying to get us in that tower. He's hatching some kind of plan to kill all those bigot bastards. Believe it or not, I used to vacation there. I wasn't always like this. I was a goddamn scientist. We were doing great things. Amazing things. Sure, sacrifices were required. Some people got hurt, but we were making real progress. But then those goddamn bombs dropped. Karma's a real bitch. You'd be wise to remember that.
I knew it. I knew that little bastard was behind all this. After all these years, he stuck his head out, and this is my chance to cut it off. Figuratively speaking, of course. Him. I should have known. My old rival, so close to his family home. Only he would be so stupid. He was once a man, Professor Calvert. The Calverts owned half of Maryland, back when there was a Maryland to own. Members of the Calvert family were influential all over the world. They practically owned a deed to the U.S. government. In their best days, there were no less than 3 Calvert family senators, 7 members of the House, and 2 governors. They even had a top candidate for president, until that scandal with the dog forced them to drop out of the race. I was particularly proud of that one. Calvert is my old rival. Centuries we've played this game. I knew he'd be stupid enough to hide so close to his family home. It's not a matter of hate. It's a matter of destiny. He is my enemy, and I do not suffer any bastard who opposes me to live. I knew he was here, and it is my intent to find him and call down a righteous fucking hammer on his head. Figurative, I mean. His head.
I don't have any family anymore. My mom and dad died a while ago, before I ended up here. You know, back when all the bombs dropped on everything. Yeah, it was right after that. And then me and my sister, we got pulled up here. Except, I haven't seen her in a long time.
Hey, Soma, can you tell me how it all ends up? You know, what happens down there?
I don't know. All I heard was that one side or the other started dropping bombs, and it just all went to shit.
So they don't know who started it or who won?
You don't get it because you've never been down there. It's all gone, Tikorian. Doesn't matter who won or who started it.
Then I don't really have anything to go back to, do I? I mean, my family's gone. My friends are gone. Everything I knew is gone.
Sorry. You'll just have to learn to deal with it like the rest of us.
What's going on? Who are all these people? My what? Who the hell are you? Oh my God. Wait a minute. Aliens! I was taken by aliens! You must be the aliens trying to get into my mind. Well, that's not gonna work. Private Elliot Tikorian, U.S. Army medic. Serial number 3477809. That's all I'm telling you. Look, I just want to get out of here and get back to things the way they were. Back with my guys. Wait a minute. My men, my unit. Have you seen them? Me? Well, I was a medic with the 108th Infantry Battalion stationed at Anchorage, Alaska. I was with a squad of 5 other medics. Our job was to patch everyone up after the commies gunned them down. It was pretty bloody. Nothing at all like I expected when I gave up my hospital job to enlist in the Army. Well, it was getting dark. We'd spent the day out in the trenches, keeping as many of the guys alive as we could. Chinese had been pounding on us all day with artillery from these huge guns they had up on the mountains. It was really a mess. Anyway, we pitched our tents and stowed our gear to try and catch some shut-eye. I woke up suddenly to Private Dawkins screaming. He was bathed in some kind of blue light coming from the sky. All of us just froze as he just, well, vanished. We didn't know what happened. Did the Chinese come up with some new weapon? Moments later, all of us were in the blue light too. The rest, you know.
お主は何者？ここはどこだ？拙者の剣はどこだ？さっぱりわからん。ここがどこなのか申せ。拙者の剣はどうした？何を言っておるのだ？さっぱりわからん。なんとかしてくれ。妖怪から身を守るには剣がいる。人をあざけるな。お主の物言いはさっぱりわからん。剣を奪われてしまった。耐え難き屈辱。剣をすぐ取り戻さねばならぬ。
Can't say as it matters, or that I'd feel like telling you anyway. So you know? There's not much more to say. Wasn't just me sucked up into this place. My wife and my boy, too. I can still hear them, crying out to me, begging me to save them. And there wasn't a damned thing I could do. They were everything to me, you know? So now I've got nothing. Nothing at all.
Good neighbor's crazy. Thefts, murders, worse. Sometimes you just gotta escape a little to make it through the day.
The whole world's crazy.
No argument here. You ever listen to the Silver Shroud? That's what we need. No matter how bleak things got, he saved the day.
My family and I used to listen to every new episode.
You mean when they first aired? How? The last broadcast was hundreds of years ago.
I was in cryogenic storage for a long time. I only just woke up.
Oh man, that's amazing! You're just like Mr. Abominable from episode 83.
Wasn't he a caveman?
Yeah, that's the one. They found him in an iceberg off the harbor. Boy, if you just woke up. The world these days must take some getting used to.
That's an understatement.
Things may look bad, but we gotta try to make it better. I got a question for you. What if the Silver Shroud was real? With his black trench coat and gleaming silver submachine gun? I got a plan to bring him to life. So we can fight bad guys and give the rest of us a symbol of something better.
Here you go.
After all these years, the Silver Shroud is born again. But there's just one problem. I'm just not Silver Shroud material. I could be Rhett Reinhardt, or his butler, Jarvie Blake. But the Shroud is strong, capable.
Don't tell me. Jack sent you.
You're Jack's sister? I was expecting someone a bit younger.
You really know how to flatter a lady, don't you? Just to be clear, I'm Jack's younger sister, the baby of the family. Once I get home and get some of Jack's serum, I'll be back to my usual stunning self.
Jack has a serum that reverses aging?
It's more like it halts aging. I started taking it when I was 32, so normally that's what I look like. You'll see once I get my treatment. I was well known as one of the belles of Boston society, back when there was any.
What happens if you don't get more serum?
Oh, I don't think we need to worry about that. I've gone without a treatment much longer before with no lasting effect.
Actually, there's only one vial of the serum left. Raiders got the rest.
I'd better get home before Mother convinces Jack that she needs all of it. That he could still be such a mama's boy at his age is ridiculous.
It seems Jack doesn't want to talk to his father. We'll have to kill him, you know.
How long have you been locked up in here?
My loving son trapped me here in the year of our Lord, 1898, so, almost 400 years. I think you were about to agree to helping me kill Jack and the rest of my traitorous kin, yes?
Have you lost your mind? Why did you release Lorenzo?
You were just keeping him prisoner to keep yourselves alive.
That's a lie. I worked for centuries to find a way to cure him. But he doesn't want to be cured.
Hey there.
It's a damn shame things had to end like this.
What are you gonna do now?
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've had to answer that for myself. Only thing I'm sure of is that I won't stay here. I've had my doubts about the Lorenzo situation for a long time. You may not realize, I've been working for the Cabot since before the Great War. I never met Lorenzo, of course. He was already locked up in Parsons when I came on board. So I've had to take Jack's word for everything the whole time. And I won't lie, I had a good situation here, and I didn't want to rock the boat. I don't know if it was the right decision or not, but what's done is done.
Thank you for your assistance.
They had it coming.
I can see you understand the deep satisfaction of revenge, long delayed. Now that I've taken care of that bit of old business, I can see that I have a lot to learn. Things have changed while I've been locked away. This new world seems to be one of limitless possibilities for people of our talents and inclinations.
What are you talking about? The world's been destroyed.
You're looking at things the wrong way, my friend. The old world's luxuries were paid for by an infinity of rules and restrictions. There was no room for a truly creative mind to flourish. Now, however, there's nothing to stand in my way. Or yours.
Are you really over 400 years old?
Yes, I truly am. Although since I spent almost 4 centuries of that locked in a tiny room, I have spent most of my time exploring my own mind, as it were.
I was curious about the ancient artifact you always wear.
Jack spent so many futile years trying to understand this. I could have told him everything he wanted to know. Through it, I commune with the ancient minds that founded our civilization. Whether they live within it, or it communicates with them through time or space, or whether it simply holds their memories, I don't know. What I do know is that it has widened my horizons beyond the tiny scope granted to normal men. I spent my long captivity exploring the memories of the ancients, their arts and sciences, their philosophy and worldview. Are we done?
Hello?
Huh? Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Sorry, didn't mean to ignore you. Just got caught up in my work again. So, what do you think? Nice, isn't she?
What is that? Some kind of toy?
It's not just any toy. It's a genuine Giddy-Up Buttercup. The 2076 Special Edition. Best toy on the market before the war. It's a shame, though. I don't have all the parts to get this old girl working again. Don't suppose you happen to have a spare crate of toy parts on you?
What do you need?
Omnidirectional servos, piezoelectric actuators, superconductive mesh wiring. This was top-of-the-line stuff, even before the war. You won't find it just lying around.
I've got them right here.
You do? All right. Let me take a look. Yes. Yes. It's all here. It's really all here. You've more than earned your reward. Here.
That's close enough.
What are you doing out here?
This is our home. We've lived here since before. We lost our friends, our family, even our son when the bombs dropped. Now we just have each other. No point in going anywhere else.
Is someone there? I can hear you. Get me out of this thing. Get me out of here.
Is someone in there?
Let me out.
Who are you?
My name is Billy. Please. I've been trapped in here for so long.
How did you end up in there?
I hid in here to get away from the bombs. But there isn't a handle on the inside, and it's really dark in here.
The bombs were over 200 years ago. You're that old?
I don't know how long I've been in here. A long time, though. A really long time. Please, I don't want to die in here.
Okay. I'll let you out.
Yes, I've been stuck in here for so long. My legs are so stiff. Everything's so different. I guess I was in there for a really long time. What do I do now?
So, what's the story with you and that fridge?
It happened so long ago, back before everything got wrecked. When I heard the sirens, I tried to find someplace safe. When everything started to shake and fall apart, I just crawled inside. When it got quiet again, I tried to get out, but there isn't a handle on the inside. I just want to go home. Can you help me? Mom? Dad? Are you in there?
Billy! Billy?
Son? Is that really you?
It's me. It's really me.
Oh my god! We thought you were dead.
What happened to you? You're all burned up like me.
We're ghouls, Billy. The radiation changed us. Looks like it did the same thing to you.
Don't worry about it, Billy. Your dad and I don't care what you look like. We still love you.
I love you too, Mom. I missed you guys. It's been so long.
Excuse me.
Thank you for bringing us back our little boy. And saving us from that man.
So, how did you end up as ghouls?
We didn't make it to the shelter in time.
The door was shutting as the bombs fell. We both must have taken a lot of radiation.
I guess we were some of the lucky ones. Most folks die instead of becoming ghouls. Must be something in both our genes.
So that's why you guys look like me.
Yeah, Billy. That's why. Although it's really more why you look like us.
We wandered for a while, but eventually came back here. We've been living here ever since. Not really anywhere else to go.
Let me thank you. Take this.
I watched you talk to a boy on the dock. Swim out here. You appear able, but not a threat. No. Come in, Heping. Peace?
Who are you?
Zhao, captain of the Chinese Navy. I sail the Yangtze 31. This Chentian. This submarine. My beautiful boat. Speak harsh words of me if you must. But my Yangtze, speak of her with respect. Why are you here? War is over. Long over. And my Yangtze holds no Baowu, no treasure. Nothing for you to plunder.
Have you been here for 200 years?
Ah, it has been that long. 是的, yes. I suppose it has. Long ago, just after the fire, Yangtze struck our mine. My Chentian barely made it here into harbor. City already in ruins by then. Few noticed us. Fewer cared. Too much Tongku. Your arrival is good Xingyun for me.
Where are you going to get that?
Now that is the right question to ask. 200 years ago, I launched all of Yangtze's high-yield nuclear missiles, as ordered. For 200 years, I have lived with that guilt, that shame. So much fire, such bay, but one missile failed to launch. You must go down, remove the warhead, then bring it to me.
The fuck? Who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck am I? Who the fuck are you?
I'm Eddie Winter, and you're in my bunker. Just how the fuck did you get... No. No way. Not after all this time. Don't tell me you actually cracked my code. In the holotapes? Well, hey. It's only been, what? 200 years? Well, look. I'm not sure what you thought you'd find. Gold, jewels, the secrets of the universe. But you get me. One guy. A ghoul, I guess you'd call me. Just living, surviving, and what I got, you can't have. That code? It was a joke. I just wanted to prove how dumb those feds were. Turns out, pretty dumb. So take your asses someplace else.
I'm not going anywhere until I get what I came for.
Yeah? And what's that? And who are you, huh? You look kind of familiar. But what are you, some kind of robot? Is that what it's like out there now? A world of robot overlords? I knew it.
The name's Valentine. Nick Valentine. Remember me?
Valentine? The cop? Is that who you're supposed to be? Sorry, pal, but you ain't Nick Valentine. You're just some kind of, machine.
You killed my fiancée, Jennifer Lands. There's some crimes even you can't get away with, Winter.
Your fiancée? You mean Valentine's fiancée? Pretty girl. A shame what happened to her. But hey, you? Or, you know, the real Valentine? He should have backed off when he had the chance. But what gives, Robot Man? Why do you even care? Some girl gets whacked 200 years ago, and you come into my home acting like a hot guy? Christ, look at you. You're not even alive.
Then I guess I'm in good company. Your funeral.
Shit. Not yet.